So today, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about what is effective college teaching. We're sort of coming full circle here. I already have a video queued up for us because I know, because it's the end of the semester, that I'm already burnt out. I've got so many things going on, and I know you all have so many things going on as well. So I thought we might as well start with something funny, or at least I think it's funny. What did you notice about that video? Anything that comes to mind about the video?
Girls are not paying attention in class.
Right? And it's really interesting because you can still hear, I don't know if you could hear it in the back, but you can still hear the instructor teaching while all of this laughter is going on. What about the boy, or what was going on further in the back, even behind the
two other girls, they're on computers also, are talking.
Yeah. And the boy, right? See, I don't know what he's doing potentially. Maybe he was taking notes, but now what happened now that he sees those girls laughing?
He's distracted.
It feels terrible.
I wanted to show you this to start with something funny. But also, if you remember from last class, not last class, but a few class periods ago, it might have even been the second or third class period that we had when we talked about what is effective college teaching. Ben showed you all a clip from How I Met Your Mother, or no, Big Bang Theory. And then he also showed you a clip of the worst college professor. You guys kind of remember that a little bit? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to start today with that video, as well as I wanted to start, I know that I've talked to Tamara a little bit about this already. How many of you have heard of this site? It's called Yik Yak. It's an application for your phone. A couple people raising your hand. Somebody feel brave enough to tell us, what is Yik Yak?
Terrible.
Terrible, yeah. In a word, if you could describe it, maybe terrible. What's the premise?
It's an anonymous, streaming post where college kids can post anonymously.
Yeah.
Or younger, unfortunately.
Or younger. Yeah. So, anything else, Brooks?
No, I mean, it's basically like an anonymous Twitter.
Yes, exactly. That's what I like to think of it. It was kind of like Twitter. And it is anonymous. So you can't have a screen name for it, or a handle, I think maybe is what you can call it. But primarily, you can get on there and you can post things, and it's all anonymous. And the interesting, and you can actually pull it up right now if you've got your iPad. I am addicted to it. The interesting thing, though, is that it is specific to our location. So it's specific to college students of Kansas State University here at Manhattan. What do you think that they post on Yik Yak? Or why would I be bringing this up in class right now?
Because they can rip on classes, they can rip on teachers, and they can rip on each other.
Oh yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. Here's just a little sample of something that I found a few days ago before I left for break, which is, I read the syllabus and it says there's a test tomorrow. Is that true? And that's a very tame one that's class related. I wanted to put a tame one up there. And I also want to give the caveat that enter at your own risk, because it is college students and this is a forum for them to express whatever they want to. I think the topic for a while was trash bees around campus. So they talk about a variety of things, but they also talk about our teaching. And I bring this up not only for you to kind of check it out and to look at, because I think that it is actually really interesting, but also in the direction that we're going this morning with what is effective college teaching. I'm going to be bringing up this site again for us to consider in some questions that I'm going to be asking in terms of where we're headed with what effective college teaching is. So I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a preface here of where we're going by introducing this application. Does anybody have it and look at it regularly besides myself? Good, me and Brooks. Woo. Safety in numbers. Okay, so we've already talked quite a bit about effective college teaching in terms of course delivery, designing your course management, that type of thing. Does anyone remember from the maybe second class when we talked about what is effective college teaching? And if you remember, we did that group activity where you wrote out what are some characteristics of an effective teacher as well as an ineffective teacher. And we talked a little bit about how there's a lot of overlap between what we think is effective and ineffective. Does anyone remember what some of those characteristics of effective teachers are?
Respectful.
Respectful.
Approachable.
Approachable.
Being well organized.
Well organized, yeah.
Adaptive.
Adaptive.
Caring about what you teach.
Caring, yeah, about what you
And
teach.
your students.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything else?
Have a passion for what you're teaching.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a summary of what we did with that first group activity. So a lot of these things you've mentioned already, that they're organized, that they're well prepared, they're engaging, they're energetic. And I think that we've done a really great job this semester of having discussions about how we might model this effective teaching in terms of being organized and well prepared and putting our class together. And the direction that we'd like to go in this morning is focusing more now on these characteristics down here, which are primarily the things that you guys were talking about in the first place, which is that teachers, effective teachers, are caring, that they inspire us, that they're adaptive, and that their teaching is really transformative. These are your words that you put up on the board several weeks ago for what is effective college teaching. And like I mentioned, I think that we have hinted at some of these things along the way and got some good discussions going about these particular characteristics. But that's where we're headed today, and that's kind of what the focus is going to be of today, is really thinking about how you can make your teaching transformative. And really the bigger thing is how you can teach beyond the content. So what we're going to do right now, since we've all been studying, right, and we've preached that we've got to break things up, we've got to do something different, we're going to do a little activity. It's called mind mapping. I've used this before in my psych undergrad classes, and people seem to really like it. In the center of your diagram that you're going to create, or the visual that you're going to create with your group, what you want to do is put teaching effectively beyond the content in the center. So that could be anything, right? For me, it might be that I want to teach people how to be empathetic. I want to teach them how to perspective take. So as a group, you might come up with maybe one characteristic, several characteristics, whatever it's as meaningful to your group about teaching beyond the content in the center of your visual. And then on the outsides here, we're thinking about factors that either help us to teach effectively beyond our content, or things that might hinder us from teaching effectively beyond our content. And what I'd like for us to do, and you could really do this in any way that you want. I came up with kind of doing this in circles, cutting them out with the foam board here. But what I'd like for you to do is try to organize these factors in terms of things that directly relate, so the things that the circles that are closest, directly relate to helping you or hindering you to teach effectively beyond the content. And then maybe those indirect things or those secondary things that also come into play on the outsides of your diagram.
So we chose as our middle like a humanistic worldview, which kind of incorporates the ideas of empathy, love, inclusion, celebrating diversity, all of those things, because we couldn't really pick. And then so the larger petals are things that help us to develop these ideas within the classroom, such as like accommodation, making sure that each child's needs are met.
And so we argued or said that that as a foundational level, critical thinking, enthusiasm, authenticity, and empathy lead to good relationship building with the students, facilitation of problem solving and engagement, which leads to student attendance and comprehension.
These are the characteristics that we want the students to learn beyond the content of the subject of the course. That is problem solving skills, and effective communication, responsibility, empathy, critical thinking, teamwork, respect, and personal development.
At the foundation or the base, no matter what you're teaching or how you're teaching or who you're teaching to, that some important characteristics would be authenticity, genuineness, openness, application to real life, curiosity, and care.
Ours is a moving document. It actually has to move to be able to be seen. And that's what education is. You got to keep changing. The core center, what we put in the center is basically about who you are going to be tomorrow. As the instructor, as the leader, as the student. Who are you going to be tomorrow? Who are you trying to outdo, and what's your future? But what hinders you is here.
Before you all leave, we have a packet for you that we've put together that was based on some of the evaluations that you gave us at mid-semester. And I encourage you to look through it, to ask us any questions that you have, as well as we've put information about additional resources. We've got the library over here. You can always access our course site on the TLC's website. So if you want to come back to any of these resources at any time, even if you're not a student in the class anymore, you have access to those things. Thank you so much for sticking around and being so great always. Thank you.